And just like that, it's over. The Penguin season comes to an end after losing in 6 to the New York Islanders with a very embarrassing loss, 5-3. I'm just going to say this. Thank you to the Pittsburgh Penguins for giving me such a great season. The season started with those 2 losses to the Flyers. It looked like it was going to be a disaster. You know, the core is getting older, slower. They don't have goaltending. They were able to flip it around and absolutely killed it, finishing first in the toughest division in the NHL. And there were so many good storylines, right? But none of them will be remembered because of how it ended here in the playoffs. And just like 2019 and 2020, it's the same result. But that's about it, just the result. Because this year, the Penguins played. And it's almost even more devastating knowing how they lost, considering how they played. Because in 2019, they were terrible. Everything about them was terrible. 2020, last year in the play-in, terrible. They just didn't belong there. And when they lost, I was almost not happy, but they deserved it. I'm like, you know what? Good. You deserve to lose. But this year, it's honestly heartbreaking because they didn't deserve to lose. They actually played amazing. They played good enough to win this series 9 out of 10 times. And the one time they didn't win was the one we saw. For me, the story was goaltending. That's what let them down. Not only let them down, but robbed them because Sorokin was amazing and Tristan Jarry was far from amazing. Game 1, the Penguins should have won. Tristan Jarry with those weak glove side goals. He answers back with a great Game 2. So for me, Game 2 makes up for Game 1. Game 3, both goalies were bad. Penguins were able to pull away with the win. Game 4, everybody was bad on the Penguins. Can't really fault Tristan Jarry. For me, what lost the Penguins this series was Game 5. The Penguins played their best playoff game in Game 5 that I've ever seen them. Not ever, because we've seen a lot of great playoff games. But that playoff game right there, take away the result, the play is up there with their best playoff games in this entire 87-71 era. And it was the goaltending that costed them. But like I said, Sorokin robbing them because that game should have been over before the third period started. The Penguins should have put that game away in the second period. They didn't. The Islanders were able to crawl their way back in, and they got that lucky bounce from Tristan Jarry as a gift to win them the game. If the Penguins win that Game 5, for me, they come into Game 6 and win it. They have all the confidence. After playing that type of game and winning, you go on the road and none of the fans or nothing phases you because you know that you're playing well and you're one win away from just ending it. But instead, for me, and if you guys remember in my last video, I said I would be shocked if the Penguins won Game 6. That's not me being a bad fan or giving up hope on them because I really hoped they were going to come here and prove me wrong. But when I saw how they lost Game 5, right, you give your best performance ever in who knows how long. And just to lose like that, right? You didn't just lose. You lost like that from Tristan Jarry's mistake. For me as a player, that would completely just ruin me, ruin my confidence, ruin everything because me and my teammates played so hard and we lost like that. I'm not saying that they probably were blaming Tristan Jarry because you saw how they acted. They all said we lose as a team, we win as a team, but just deep down as a player, losing like that just kills you. And then it just continued in Game 6 tonight. They started off pretty well tonight. You know, they go up 1-0, 1-1. They go up 2-1, 2-2. They go up 3-2, 3-3. You know, the Penguins were just not getting a save. And for me, the dagger was that second period when the Islanders scored those goals in bunches. They scored the 3-3 goal, the 4-3 goal, the 5-3 goal. For me, it was over when that happened. The first goal wasn't really Jarry's fault, although you would like a save there. The second goal was all Tristan Jarry. Terrible rebound. The third goal was one of those goals where you can't really blame anybody. It was a great pass by, I believe, Josh Bailey. I can't really remember. And Brock Nelson just finished. Tristan Jarry had no chance, and it was just a great play. The Islanders didn't get many of those just good goals that were okay to give up. It was a bunch of just letdowns by Tristan Jarry, and then you saw that on the fourth goal. That should have been stopped, that point shot. Yes, there was traffic, but it comes to a time where you need a stop, and the Penguins didn't get a stop at all this entire series. And for me, the dagger, that fifth goal, what are you doing? The 5-hole, everything, just, it showed me that the crowd got to Jarry. I mean, the guy was rattled. It showed. They were chanting the Jarry chants every second they got. That doesn't really faze a goalie as much, but every time he made a save, they were cheering. Easy saves, they were cheering. Every time he handled the puck outside of the net, they were cheering because of, we know from the Game 5. And you saw it in Tristan Jarry. The guy didn't have his confidence tonight, or probably this entire series, after Game 2 at least. For me personally, I'll never forget that double overtime mistake by Jarry. Every time I see that screenshot of him having the puck, having two options to go to, and he goes to Josh Bailey, that will forever just haunt me because for me, that was the series. Enough of the game. Let's just talk about what are we expecting going forward. This is why it's so tough, because after a third straight playoff disappointment, you expect so many changes to be done, but the Penguins played so well. You don't need to shake up the core. I know everyone wants to. You don't need to trade any of your forwards. Your defense is okay. Honestly, Mike Matheson played a lot better than people expected him to. Cody Ceci was amazing. Chris Letang had his moments. He wasn't great tonight, but he was amazing in games 1 to 3. Pedersen is maybe you want to move on from him. Dumoulin is solid. John Marino's probably going to get better next year. Just looking at the entire team, obviously everybody wants to move on from Tristan Jarry, but realistically, I think he's going to come back next year and be better. This was his first playoff run. He's a young goalie. He showed a lot of promise. But if this was about 10 years ago, I would say keep Tristan Jarry, because Crosby Malkin would be 26, 25 or whatever, 25, 24, and you have so much more, space to go. But right now, the time isn't there. How many more years do you have? Maybe this was the final year. Maybe next year's the final year. So if the Penguins want to go all in on a goalie, on a big-time goalie next year, I will not be mad at them. Personally, I think Tristan Jarry will bounce back and be better, but I completely understand going with another option because time is running out, and what he did this year for me in the playoffs, unacceptable. And as far as coaching goes, for me, Mike Sullivan had such a good year. This year, last year, the year before, but it's the playoff exits. And if we're going to fire Mike Sullivan just because he's not having playoff success, I mean, go for it. I'm not going to be mad at it because it happens sometimes. I'll be okay with firing the coach only for the new voice aspect of it. Sometimes the team needs the new voice, but Mike Sullivan has done a hell of a job if this was his last game. I don't think so, but it is different management. Maybe they want to go with a different guy. I know a lot will say he should have pulled Tristan Jarry. I agree. After the 5th goal, I was calling for him to go out because at that point, the game is lost. You put in Legacy, and if he's not good enough, it doesn't matter because Tristan Jarry's not any better at this point. Just try anything. But I understand his decision keeping Jarry. Your backup option has played 1 game this season, and it was versus Buffalo, which he was great in, but you just don't know. If Casey DeSmith was in the game, he would have probably gone in after Jarry allowed that 2nd goal, I would think. And if not, definitely after the 3rd goal, when it was still 3-3, still in the game. But the Penguins didn't have Casey DeSmith, so it's very tough to just, put your playoff hopes in a guy that you just don't know, Is this guy going to be better or not? You just don't know. And it honestly pisses me off so much that Casey DeSmith was actually injured. Like, what are the odds of that? Because in my opinion, I think the difference maker would have been putting in Casey DeSmith because he didn't need to be good, just be average. That's how good the Penguins played this series. They just needed average goaltending, and Tristan Jarry gave them way below average goaltending. If they just get average goaltending, which I think Casey DeSmith could have given them, we might be in a completely different situation right now. It's definitely going to be an interesting offseason, right? Because we have new management. That's what interests me the most. I really wonder what they're going to do. Are they going to go full in and just trade everybody, right? Like try and change everything, get bigger, different goalie, different coach. There's so much you could do, and I'm not going to mention everything right now because, I want to have future videos when this is all said and done where I'll talk about that stuff. But for right now, it's over. The Penguins lost. Changes will come, whether they're good changes or not. We're going to have to see what Ron Hextall does in his first real challenge with the team. So far, he's 1 for 1. That Jeff Carter trade was perfection. And by the way, keep in mind, Jeff Carter will be coming back next year unless he retires somehow, which he said he wasn't. He does have 1 year left after this year, so that's amazing. He wasn't just a rental. It makes that trade even better. And before I go here, I just wanted to thank everybody for watching my videos and following me through the season with my social media, on Instagram and Twitter. And these videos I was making after every playoff game were very fun to make, and a big part of it was just reading what you guys had to say and just all the interaction. I've enjoyed this whole YouTube thing plenty, so I really look forward to the off season because I plan on making videos throughout, and I hope I can stay consistent and just keep this a regular thing. So thank you to you guys for watching. Thank you to the Penguins for providing me with a great season, right? This is season number 15 in the Crosby Malkin era. You can't really be disappointed. I mean, you could tonight, but overall, look at the bigger picture. 3 cups still, right? The whole regular season was very fun to watch. There's going to be a lot of question marks heading into the off season, but until then, thank you guys so much for watching.